Engineer Ladele, you are most, how do you do?
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah. You are an individual, a Nigerian. The challenges our electricity power supply system is undergoing, does it worry you, does it disturb you, even though you were an insider, but today you are off the hook?
I'm still part of them. As a retiree, I still claim former staff of TCN. Naturally, if you are an engineer that you train in the power sector, you'll be worried about the seemingly issue that is affecting the power sector. Just to tell you the truth, this regular and frequent collapse is not worrisome, and we are not too happy about it.
We are not too happy about it. Well, thank God for that. I want us to use this 45 minutes of our production as a kind of a seminar for the man or woman who is a viewer at home, okay? For them to learn one or two things. So, what is the national grid, if I must ask?
The national grid is nothing other than interconnection of the network from the producers to the consumer. In which case, some of us, what we believe about the so-called integration is from Kanji generating station that we are all used to, which is one of the GenCos today.
Yeah.
The interconnection of that network from Kanji through to the transmission onto the disco to your house or to the consumer premises is what we call grid network.
Grid.
Yes, network.
How come it collapses every now and then?
And the network is segmented into what I call voltage levels. Voltage is nothing other than what we see even in the studio now.
Yeah.
You are without voltage, you can't be talking. Without the voltage, you cannot have this light. Without the voltage, even this microphone will not work. All of them are all connected. At the generating station in Nigeria today, most of them generate at about 11 kilovolts or 16 kilovolts. Mind you, I said, is the interconnection of the network into the consumer premises. From there, the thing is step up. And when it's given step up, you will be hearing about step up transformer or step up network. You'll be hearing it. It step up to about 132 or 330 kV. K is the voltage. From there, it comes down to 33. From there to 11 and 415. This grid that it is occurring frequently, it is classically the 330 kV network that we are referring to. The grid network tells us right from the generation onto that, and they are being carried by copper conductor. You will see them. If we step out of the studio now, you bust a power line along Ikiro Road, you see that substation there.
Yes.
You see all these lattice structures carrying long conductor.
Yeah.
Those are the grid that we talk about.
Yeah.
And anytime there's no supply on them, we call it collapse.
Why do these collapses? Why do they happen?
A lot of things.
Yes, I want to know about them.
One, if you see my intro, I said we have what we call generating company. I just mentioned Kanji, there is Jeba, they are all hydro stations. If you go down to the Benin area, you have the so-called Omotosho power station. Those one, they are more of steam or gas. The former one I just mentioned, the Shiroro, Kanji, and Jeba, the hydro. Now going to the east, they are gas powered, which are mainly from the NFPC gas. Now, all this one contributes, and they are being carried by the huge current carrying conductors into every nook and cranny of Nigeria. If anything should happen to any of those towers, which is the main problem we are having presently, you'll be hearing about vandalization. So when you have that kind of thing, you may have incident of collapse. That is one. Two, the power network, as we are discussing today, or the grid network as we today, is dealing with aged equipment. If you have any unforeseen situation and you have any of the equipment having issue, say for example, somebody is driving and maybe a trailer a driver and recklessly drove into the power structure, you have the conductor being snapped. That is another thing we see. So when you have that kind of thing, will cause it. Then another thing is our network today is very weak. There is something we call N, capital N minus 1 criteria, which is essential for stability.
Capital N.
N, capital N minus 1. That is for everything you are having. Say in the studio, for example, assuming we have only one transformer here. If that transformer has fault, you may have collapse in this network. But if you are able to have a standby, maybe it could be your generator at the case may be. So that criteria is made. It's like a family. When a family has one number of vehicles, it is assumed that you don't have vehicle. Because anytime that vehicle broke down, you must have something to rely on. So most of our network as of today, the N minus 1 criteria is not met, which is essential for stability.
Okay. If I got you, because it is a learning process.
Yes, sir.
The N should represent normal.
Yes, normal.
Minus 1. So already you are almost nowhere.
No, exactly. That is it.
Okay. Let's come a little home. We'll be going here and there. Of course, when I get there, I will have a question. You in one of your answers, you said something which I will draw your attention to again.
Sir.
You were general manager here in Osogbo.
I retired.
You retired. Yes. How do you call that place? Regional. Is it a regional center or what?
Yes.
Okay.
It is regional center of the transmission network.
Okay. The regional center.
Yes. But then there is, if I can understand where you are going, here in Nigeria as of today, we have 10 of such regions.
Okay.
We call it all regional offices, headed by general manager. But in addition to that, we have what we call the National Control Center.
Okay.
Most often than not, people like me and you confuse this one.
Okay.
If we are going to Ikero, for example, now, the first place that we see this static structure, that one is part of Osogbo region. Okay. The second one, which is second gate, that one is the National Control Center.
Okay.
So the two of them are interwoven. Why this one is mainly of maintenance, installations, and design. The other one is principally for operation of the grid network. I was just telling you about all the GENCOs. All the GENCO contribute to the national grid. It is the National Control Center they do.
So this out there, Osogbo, here in Osogbo, is a very, very
vital to the operation of TCN and the power sector in Nigeria.
Is it the only one?
For now, it is the only functional one.
Oh, functional one.
The other one in Shiroro is, they call it Supplementary National Control Center. As we are talking now, another one is coming up in Abuja.
Okay. Why Abuja? You can't answer that question. Okay.
For obvious reason, you know.
Because we think
for security, no doubt.
Yeah, you can still maintain security there. But I don't know, I'm not an engineer, but the founding fathers of electricity in Nigeria decided to put the control center in Osogbo many years ago. In the days of maybe ECN or NEPA.
Very correct.
That's about 50 years ago.
Yes. For a simple, obvious reason.
What was it?
That Osogbo is central to the grid.
Okay.
So you have generation from Kanji then.
Okay.
Mainly Kanji, then later on Jeba. You have generation from Saple.
Okay.
Then later on, you have to from Lagos. So Osogbo is central to the grid. Okay. So ideally, it is good for you to be in Osogbo.
I was thinking that it is high time engineers like you decided that this regionalization must also be spread so that Osogbo won't have too much load to carry. I mean, I'm speaking as a layman. I don't know whether it means something to you. If the power system, our federal government had established about 3 of these centers elsewhere, the weight that Osogbo center alone will carry would have been minimized.
I just said that as of today, we have Osogbo at the National Control Center. We have a supplementary one during Babangida that is Shiroro. And we have one coming up now.
People criticize Babangida for putting it in Shiroro.
That is why it was supplementary that time. In actual fact, we were all civil servants then. So there's a little we can say. I'm aware that some thought went on before the NAS. Okay, let us call it supplementary National Control Center. You will recall that in the 80s, 88, 89, there was collapse. And some men of then defunct Power J. That was the beginning of that issue, Shiroro. And that's about the time Shiroro was commissioned.
Yeah, given that, one would have thought that if these things are spread intel, and not necessarily in Abuja, you put one in even if it is what used to be Kongola, today is Adamawa and the other
Yobe.
Yeah, yes, you put them there. They can be feeding and feeding. I said I am not an engineer, but this is simple. It's not rocket science.
And that is what they are doing presently now. So we can say as of today there are three.
But you told me the only functional one.
Why this one is only functional one is this is where the grid is being dispatched.
Yeah, but yes,
this is where
the only functional. The others have collapsed.
In actual, no. If that is the interpretation, let me come back again, sir. The Osogbo National Control Center is functional because the facility there, they are intact, even though they are being upgraded. The Abuja one is just coming up. The structure are just being put into place. For the Shiroro, Shiroro still layers to Osogbo for the load dispatch. The beauty of having it 2 or 3 is anything can happen to the first one. Let this one be able to do it.
Yeah.
And that is the original idea of the Osogbo. Continue to maintain your National Control Center. Shiroro is supplementary National Control Center. But now that we are having Abuja coming up, which is more modern technology.
So at the end of the day, Abuja will not be enjoying power and becomes the problem again. Everything in Abuja is centered there, and then when it collapses, the people in the states begin to suffer. Anyway,
that is not correct. As at today in Nigeria now, the bulk load is in Lagos. Lagos carry almost 70 or more than.
That's where you generate your money from.
That's where the main money is coming from. So the dispatch that they do, or the load allocation they do in SEC, take premium of that and notice that whatever is coming into the grid, certain percentage go to Lagos. So even in Abuja, they still do the same thing because there's no need for you to say, okay, what is in Abuja? Abuja is just a federal capital territory. How many industries are there?
Nigerians hear of Genco and discos.
Okay.
The days of music in the disco are gone. Else, the young men would have thought it's disco music. What are they? The Gencos, discos, and what have you?
That was the 2013-2012 reform Obasanjo. You just said it today. It was ECN in 1967 to translate to NEPA, National Electric Power Authority. Okay. By 2012-2013, that was the time Obasanjo said, let there be reform. And they now bring in a holding company that they call PHCN. It's just a holding company for them, which is Power Holding Company of Nigeria.
Which year was that?
2013-2012. That was the time. Now, about that time, the system was separated. Hitherto, it was one entity, one managing director, supply, oversees the whole network. All to just have is GM around. But the moment this one was with that act of parliament anyway, now you now have all the distribution company coming together to become Disco. It's not as if they are the one dancing like when we were younger. And you have all the generating company coming together to become Gencos. The only one that is linked between them is the transmission. We are actually retired. Now, all the Gencos that were formed there were 6. And they were headed by a single entity, MD. In the same way, the discos were 11, and each of them were headed by MD. So you can see that instead of one single MD for the whole power sector, you now have many MDs, and transmission too has one MD because it's a link between them.
But the Gencos, do they still have the cluster of MDs?
Yes,
you have different
MDs. Yes. For example, now the so-called Egbin Power Station that we are very familiar with in Lagos, though they don't bear that name anyway. I think they are now Savannah. Just know that because me and you are very familiar with Omotosho, for example. We wish we know that Adeleke manage. He is the chairman. So have their own MD too. So same with the discos now. In the disco today now, here in the studio today and in Osun, we are lucky to be supplied by Ibadan Distribution Electric Company, which we call IBEDC. And they have their headquarters in Capital Building on the Ring Road in Ibadan. They are headed by one MD. We usually have Benin Electric for Ondo and Ekiti. One MD is in charge of that one. We have so-called Kano. We have Kaduna. Lagos, we have two of them, Eko Electric and Ikeja Electric. So each of them has MD. They are on their own, independent. So they all got their supply from the national grid.
I asked you this question because I'm afraid if the answer you will give me. When the Gencos were being created, Nigerians had the feeling that they were not properly, they were not handed over to people who were capable. And that's why we are still in this power mess.
That is very correct.
It's very correct.
Because, Nigeria's situation is unfortunate. The union then fought against this. The government did not listen. As far as you are concerned, what do you want to? You want to see the paperwork. Here I am in Ibadan Electric. I must have technical partner. I must be able to get support from bank before I can sell it. And by the time the thing was sold, just like what the union said that time, the whole thing collapsed. All the technical partner was just a false thing.
Grapevine tells us that the powers that be sold these things.
So they are cronies.
Yes, not to people who had the capacity.
Yes, and that is why we are where we are today, especially in the discourse. A situation where you acquire a network, you are not improving on it. It is bad. Please mind you, the so-called power sector's infrastructures, as of today, is intensive, very expensive. There's none of those things that we produce in Nigeria. When you come to the disco, the only thing you can be thinking of today is electric pole or wooden poles. The so-called copper conductor, we don't have it. The transformer tank, we don't have it.
You mean we cannot produce?
We don't have a company that does that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and it is a massive infrastructure. Just like the studio now, most of the time I'm saying that you imported.
Yeah.
So, for us, we have gone a little bit to sleep.
We have overslept.
More than that, there could be a way of bringing all these things. By now, we should be able to produce distributed transformer in Nigeria. As for the transmission generation, it's even different ball game entirely. The so-called generation we are talking about, the generator transformers, where are they bringing them from? This is not what you can just took off the shelf. For us to get a generator transformer, for example, or transmission where it belongs, it will take you average of a year. You design it, you send it to them. They will now construct. You go and expect that it meets the specification. They now ship it in.
So it takes a long time.
A long time. By now, we expect Nigeria to have planned it. The Ajaokuta Steel Olumi Company, is it functional? No. Even the one that we have in Osogbo, like Osogbo Steel Olumi, is it functional? No. All those ones, if you ever go to the transmission network and see the kind of metal we are discussing, you know what I'm talking about.
When can we get out of this kind of wood? Successive administrations keep on being silent. What is responsible?
It's unfortunate that Nigeria government must do something. If we want to be hopeful, we must learn to put the right person at the right place. Like they say.
Will our politicians accept that? Even in the National Assembly?
Why can't they do it? There are people we call technocrats in government.
Yes.
What is bad? Either we like it or not, there are some engineers too that are politicians. Let us take, for example, the Ministry of Work or the Federal Ministry of Work. When he was the former governor in Ebonyi State, we saw what he did in creation of a university, and we saw the road network. People like him who are politicians and technocrats could be brought in. I'm sorry to say, the power sector, if there must be a way, just like health, holistically, an electrical engineer should be the head.
But is it happening?
It's not. It's not. You can count discussing government. When was the last time we have electrical engineer in the power sector? We are discussing power. We are not civil. Neither we are. If it's even mechanical, a little bit understand. So that is the issue. Now you are bringing lawyer because you think you want to settle somebody, or you are bringing economists or accountant. Let us bring a technocrat, somebody who knows about it, and you see changes. Because here we are today. Now you just mentioned something that, how is it? The way I understand your question, it's not the same way somebody is a professional. We say, when you say, okay, this is what happened. But a professional knows about it. Like people like myself who have served more than 32 years in the power sector, will be coming and telling me that, okay, your network is weak. Don't I know it is weak? I do.
God save this country.
Amen, my brother.
God save this country. We would sooner than later go on a short break.
Okay.
And come back. The momentum is gathering, and
God help Nigeria.
Yeah, God help Nigeria. Yes, let's complete the show. We will break it up and come back later to the studio, the control room. I think we can afford to break up the show right now, and we come back to it. Thank you very much. In the studio has been Engineer Niyi Ladele. He retired a couple of years ago as the general manager. 2020, that's 4 years ago. General manager, Oshogbo region of the Transmission Company of Nigeria. We will be back to talk to him and to talk with him again.
Thank you.
It still has breathtaking areas. This forest oasis help maintain healthy ecosystems. Clean rivers, rainfall, and the oxygen will allow our life to be and legally is forever. So let's do the right thing. Tell your family and friends not to illegal bushmeat, illegal timber from our protected forests. It's time to save our lives and forests in order to protect our natural heritage. Keep them wild, keep us safe.
There's no other animal as courageous and majestic as the lion. But with only 50 lions left in Nigeria, they may soon just be a memory. When they're used for bushmeat, we rob the lions of their food and risk naming them. So please say no to meat and help protect lions. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
Oladiyi. Let me say Engineer Niyi Oladele. He has raised very fundamental issues that continue to remind us of the need for our dear country to put the round pegs in round holes. We're back for the second, and the trajectory resumed. Why has vandalization, engineer, why has it of power transmission facilities become so attractive?
Well,
to marauders, to...
there are two ways we can look at it. One, I just told you now that none of this infrastructure is being produced in Nigeria. So when you see somebody who's not well informed and you feel they want to make cheap money, you can see them disconnecting the lattice structure that carry the conductor. Some of them even went to the extent of even carrying it. Still, you can melt it and do a lot of things with it. All the lattice structure is still. That's the one aspect of it. People want to make money. Another dangerous trend is sabotage.
As professionals sabotaging. It is they who know.
It may not be somebody who knows. It could be, like we said now. As of today, the government of the day is APC.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you know what is happening between APC and PDP.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the kind of talks that they engage themselves with. There's nothing to stop the opponent from supposedly people who knows about it. So it might not, because this is massive. Imagine me as a retiree, how can I get sufficient money to do that? But somebody is wealthy and he had this, like what is happening in the Northeast now, continuous vandalization of it is political. The one in the Southeast now, where you have them, the one going towards Port Harcourt and Bayelsa. I don't know if you hear about it, 132. They went ahead and fixed it, they went and vandalized it. So the vandalization is one. So economic reason because of people are not informed, because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
The second one too is just, we don't want you to have say. I'm aware that the one that happened in Shiroro, soldiers has to be there physically to outrun them. Too bad.
So how long can we be keeping these soldiers? Is there any means that we can use? Maybe technology can save us
of course.
This. If technology, because it is not
drones.
Everything. Drones
could be used.
Why are we not using them?
In our days, we have helicopter patrolling the line.
Okay.
When you have anything on the line, the helicopter are no more. It is really bad, my brother. It is really bad situation. No more helicopter. In those days now, you can deploy helicopter from Lagos, run through to the line to Benin, from Benin to Osogbo, from Osogbo to Jeba. They are no more existed. Drone could be used to see. And you will see all these people. But in Nigeria case, we know the solution that nobody will bet. That's unfortunately.
I understand from my readings that currently there is only one line that is connecting the thermal stations in Sapele, Ughelli to Osogbo.
That is very correct.
It's correct.
This is the N-1 criteria I discussed earlier on. As of today, only one physical line structure, 330 kV, connect all the thermal stations to Osogbo, to Tama.
So if there is a break in that transmission,
yes,
the people in Ughelli and Co. Or what happens?
If there's a break in that transmission, like we said, over there you're having poor supply.
Okay.
That load will be rejected. And before you know it, it translates to other areas. For example, here we are in the studio, maybe we have about 3 or 4 of us. We have 4 bread to share. And we can confidently take it to our cups and enjoy it. Suddenly, 2 of that bread were not there. Can the other 2 be okay for us?
No.
That is what is happening. So when you have that kind of situation, you have greed being collapsed. But assuming you have alternative, I'm aware that these days now, all the lines being constructed, minimally they are 2. You call it double circuit. But before now, it's only single circuit. Single circuit. Between Osogbo and Jeba, you have 3 of them. But the new one, and they are all double. So that if something happens to this one can sustain. In the same way, the transformer now, we are now making case for redundancy. And mind you, the generating system is a little bit different. The beauty of the power sector, if I can call it that way, I don't want to use the word bad, is this energy cannot be stopped. As you are generating, you must use it.
Yes.
That is the bad thing about it.
I was coming to that.
Assuming we know that, you now know that, okay, definitely we have to protect all our infrastructure. There is no need for us to be waiting not to have drone on our line. It should be 24 hours patrol. So if you see anybody that's doing it, then you delegate people to arrest the situation.
One of the reasons we don't have enough power supply is that we don't have where to store them, isn't it?
They are not stored. You cannot store the electricity.
No, what I'm saying, we produce, okay, or distribute, whatever it is.
Scientifically and in engineering wise, what you are producing, you must use in the electricity. The only one you can store is the so-called, we call them direct current, DC, like the solar.
Yeah.
When you have your sun, you tap it to the solar panel. That's why you can store in a battery. So that later on the battery will now convert it. But when it comes to the alternating supply that me and you are used to, as you are doing it, you must use it. That is the principle of electricity.
But even what we have in store is not even enough for us to use.
That is it.
So you can't even store. I mean, you have not enough to eat. How can you
store in the first instance?
Well, there are several sources of power.
Oh, yes.
But Nigeria depends essentially on hydro. You just mentioned...
And thermal steam.
You just mentioned... I didn't know much about the thermal you spoke of until you spoke about, is it Ughelli,
yes,
and things like that.
That is now being sold to Elumelu. Just like Promoter Showcase. Is the Ughelli and the supply has the capacity to generate using steam. The same steam, that is, you boil water, superheated, and you use it to dry turbine. You can equally use gas.
Gas.
The only difference between is the turbine blade are different. So you paint the gas on the turbine blade as it's rolling. The principle of energy is very easy. You must find a rotating structure, which is called rotor. And as it's cutting across our stator, electricity is produced. Very simple. You can equally use water on that to rotate, like we have a Kanji and a Shiroro. So we have a lot of sources of...
There is also wind.
Oh, there is wind. There is wind. That is the one that we would have expected the government to hinge onto in the north. You have the so-called, I just mentioned solar, sun, you have wind, you have hydro using water through a potential form. That is, for every hydro, you must have a dam. So if people say dam, so there must be a dam, like the so-called Kanji. The initial concept was Niger Dam Authority. It was later on that we can only generate with that one. So it could be used for irrigation purposes. A lot of things. Somewhere along there, some people just sleep, and it's really unfortunate.
If we have capacity for gas as a means of power, why do we keep on flaring?
It's part of the thing we are talking about. Government policy. Is it only for generation? What of our LPG for gas, domestic purpose? It is now we are waking up. So when we go to those, the Niger Delta area, and you hear that we are flaring gas, you just be wondering, what kind of country is this? What does it take us to use the technology to tap this gas for the benefit of generation, for the benefit of LPG and other things?
Today, we buy gas, cooking gas at 16,000.
Yes.
If we had
25 kg, no, 12.5 kg.
If we had all these sources, I think it would be better for us. But again, it is in the box or in the space of the politician. Because for 25 years now that we have been running civilian administration, that we keep on doing it the way the military did it is very unfortunate. But what are some of these challenges facing our inability to harness these resources?
It's so simple. Like we said, policy. Imagine yourself now, sir. The little I know about Mr. Smollett, you are a veteran in this industry. By way of contribution to the same, maybe your journalism and you are still very, very relevant.
Okay.
How many of trust in the past sector are being used now? Every time we are out people.
Experience one.
Bring these people, let them do the work. And that is one of the issues we're having. I've been to some studio. Rape is fine, no doubt. But then when you look at what is happening here, tap from the people like you. People coming can always learn from it. And that's one of the issues. Government policy is really not too good when it comes to that level. I'm not trying to credit power sector. It is only in power sector in Nigeria now you can see engineers working, especially in the transmission. See what happened. We used to have what they call Port Harcourt refinery. We used to have Kaduna refinery. We used to have Warri. We are day to day. But then we still have, no matter what, we still have this Osogbo, which was commissioned in 1968, still functional. We still have Ikeja West in Lagos, which is still functional. We still have Jeba. No doubt the equipment I'm aware along the line there's what they call retrofitting, upgrading, but the level is damn too low. The level is nothing to talk about. For example, when I joined the system in 1988 and got to Osogbo in 1991, we used to have 2 by 90 MVA transformer, 330 by 132 voltage. When you add that one, that is 90 plus 90 to make us 180. After today, I'm aware that a 300 MVA is being installed, not yet commissioned. By the time I was leaving 4.5 years ago, we have 150, 2 by 150 MVA transformer in that system Osogbo. We have a 90 MVA in that Osogbo. When you add the 150 plus 150, that is 300. 390 by the time I was leaving. And I'm equally aware that now a 300 MVA is coming. So to make it about 690, but it's taking too long. That one is still happening in the power sector, especially transmission. But there are nothing. For example, like I just mentioned the hydro, there was a time Gaius Obaseki,
when it was
Minister of Petroleum, was part of a board member of TCN. And he came and he was surprised to see what is happening in the power sector. But why must one is not saying you are looking for a job? Why are you keeping these people away? Why can't you tap on the experience? That is the issue.
It's the Nigerian problem.
Too bad for us.
But when can we grow or outgrow this question of this low, how do you call it, megawatts that we use? I mean, we never hardly do we exceed 4,000, 4,500.
You are very correct.
What can we do to exceed this so that power, I think the higher the energy, the better for us.
That is correct.
Why do we keep on oscillating between 2.5 and 4,000, while our counterparts in South Africa and co, they go so high up?
Because of that Nigeria factor that me and you are discussing. Now, let us face the southwest area of where we belong to. The only power generating system that we have in the southwest as of today is the one in Omotosho. Now, in the Omotosho, you have the one that was built during the Obasanjo regime when Agagu was the minister of power. Yeah. And between the two of them, they put one in Omotosho and they put one in Olorunsogo. I happen to be part of the commissioner. That much I know. Along the line, certain things were not done. Me and you know what you call when you are locating industry. There must be abundant raw material. We have just mentioned it. We have gas. If you wish to go ahead and locate in Omotosho and you locate in Olorunsogo, which is in Ogun State, are you not thinking of where the gas will be coming from? It's a very simple thing. You just get a gas line after supply. It wasn't in the at the onset. And that is why these days, where you are now supplying gas to Igbe, which was pre Omotosho and this thing, the gas pressure might be low. You could have constructed a gas line at that time that can supply them. They still went ahead and said, okay, when the Omotosho is strategically, let us inquire what they call NIPP, the one that was sold to Adeleke. As of today, it is only Adeleke. I'm talking about Southwest, not that is building a generating station. Even him, he cried out sometimes ago, you journalists here, that the equipment he imported from abroad, you'll be wondering, who will be doing this one? Because it is to help us.
You see, I'll draw an analogy. The federal government in the 70s built pipelines like that.
Yes.
Supplying fuel. Today, tankers have taken over our street.
Thank you for that, sir. So you
when we were young,
because somebody wants his business, his business to thrive. But if I have trailer, why can't I? What of in those days used to be the railway? That is what we know that normally used to transport all those things. But now we are producing. It's part of the displaced power.
Yes,
we are producing petroleum in Warri. you are producing
Lagos.
in Lagos. So say Port Harcourt, which is very close to the source, nearest to the source. You now went ahead and create a refinery in Kaduna. You are now pumping crude from Port Harcourt and Warri.
Mileage, several kilometers.
There are better way of doing it. Generate this in where these resources are there, then transport them through railway. The rail line is there.
Time is of the essence, but this question I must ask you before we go. It's been some 3 or more years that the federal government took the matter of power generation from the exclusive list.
2023. Yes. Buhari started it.
Yes.
The Tinubu calling promulgate another act again.
Now, why it's 3 years now? No, very few, if any at all. Why are our state governments afraid?
Tap into it.
Yes. That you can generate your own.
You can generate your. I'm aware that talking about Osun, for example, during the Benin regime, there was proposal for a hydro station somewhere in Erinjesa. If we are going, that is the boundary of Ekiti and that proposal.
The waterfall.
Yes. So the government did not think about it. By now, we should be tapping from it. And like I just said, hydro implies you must have a little dam. There must be a fall.
Yeah.
Here you have a natural fall. So why can't you tap little thing from it? It's one of the Nigerian factors. Now, the promulgation of the heart in the first instance, I will look at it from this way. When you are promulgating that kind of act, I wasn't part of them. There is need to have professional input. Drafting of bill is just not lawyers alone. Bring professionals into it. You said you are bringing exclusive. This is good. Let me and you participate in it. And when you participate, you have, and there are a lot of ways we can produce it. Like I said, biomass is there, wind is there, water is there, solar is there. How many solar generators we are in Nigeria? So it is just a policy. And by the time they are selling this into the so-called individual, like they did in the power sector reform, there is nothing putting it in that bill that if you feel to add to what is like you are what you are acquiring, we take it from you.
Okay.
None of them is doing that.
It's a deliberate.
Of course.
They didn't.
That's why I said they know what they are doing. They don't want to bring in professional into it. If professional, yes, put this clause there. If you are inheriting this megawatt from me, within 2 or 3 days, ensure that you added value to it.
It's been more than 15 years since Dangote acquired the old steel road.
You need to drive there and see what is there.
More than 15 years, maybe almost 20 years.
Yes.
And so the clause you are talking of, this is where it becomes very, very imperative. But is it because they don't know it? They know it. It is question of interest. He puts that clause in, and he knows that because they have exchanged hands.
You are the one saying that.
Yes, I mean, we know it as ordinary people. We know the exchange hands.
Well, honestly, it is bad. You would have expected them before they said Dangote in Osogbo that time. The slow limit. That is the company we met. Was the forefront industry in Osogbo when you came in.
So, I know it as an insider from here in Osogbo.
Yes.
It was President Obasanjo who didn't allow it.
Yes.
The people around here wanted the Oodua to step in.
If they step in, are better than this.
Yes, but the president had some good reason. He said it's a government organization. It will go the same way. I'm not supporting that position, but then he had it. You see, he said so, or I'm told he said so.
You are correct.
Because we also do local politics here and there.
We'll be wondering that
some of us were the ones who suggested that they should sell it to and Baba SB Daudu, he's late now. He would testify if he were alive. Some of us suggested.
Do you know that, sir, that by the time they started the power reform of 2012, the union, National Union of Electricity, and the SSA, they brought in some terminal paper that said part of this thing to them. It was never. They were supposed to to give certain percentage as I'm talking now, nothing. Even the so-called disco that we are discussing, government is supposed to have about 40% interest in it. And who is doing that? Nobody. It's really unfortunate in this country, my brother.
Well, someday God will come down and build us.
We could not come from.
Okay, but before God comes to build us up,
we have to do it ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
We have to do it ourselves. It's not by telling people to. No. This is what's on the ground. But how can we be producing 4,000 megawatts in 1988 and we are still do the same generation in 2024? Are we moving?
We are not moving. We are going back.
We are really going back.
You were producing 4,000
megawatts
in the 80s,
yes.
And 40 years later, sometimes you go below it.
Yes.
Engineer Oladele, I'd like to thank you for this. We hope and pray that our country will get it right. It is taking us too long to get it right. But we must demonstrated. We will get there someday. It will come. But all of us have a role to play. We must, when we see something, we must do something.
Yes, let's see something.
That has been our show for today on Pertinent Questions. I have been speaking with former General Manager, Transmission Company of Nigeria, Osogbo Region, Engineer Niyi Oladele. It's been a wonderful time. So much discussed, so much revelations, so much understanding also. I am Adeto Eshitu Alamo. I'd like to thank you for being there, watching it. Next week, hopefully, we will be able to bring another personality. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you another time. Goodbye.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and task. Second, not words of you across all words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
Our comedy is winning fans globally, but we are losing our wildlife to illegal bushmeat, and this is not funny at all. If we continue this way, we will risk losing all our animals and leaving nothing behind for the generations to come. Tell your family and friends not to buy or sell illegal bushmeat, because protecting nature.
Sign up is the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join Chocolate Candy on Eccentric as we take you into every of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190.
Abin da yasa nake son Yankari shine saboda irin albarkatun da Allah ya mata, sa'annan kuma ni ina tare da ita, ina gefenta, kuma na zo na ga albarkatun nan, na ga ina so, ina sha'awan in taya ta tsarewa innan dabbobin.
My work includes patrolling, community awareness, law enforcement, and we also go on research before becoming habits.
Started here, I felt it was not impossible. The guys were not trained, they don't understand the benefit of collecting data when they go out on patrol. They had no uniforms. We realized immediately that there's a need for national training.
Wanda ba da ilimi ya zamu yi mu kama mutum mun gashi kawai gudu muke yi mu kama. Amma yanzu mun samu ilimin da akwai dabaru da muke bi, muke amfani da shi wajen bi domin mu kama mai laifi a kan.
We learned so much about marksmanship and weapon handling and how to carry out a patrol and how to engage an enemy.
Wannan horo ya canza mana irin yadda da muke, domin yadda da muke mu daban wandan mu daban. Yana mun ƙara jin ƙarfi sosai a wajen a jikin mu. Ci tsakanin mu da ƴan uwa yana zama mana kamar da ba mu fahimtar juna sosai, amma yanzu muna fahimtar juna sosai. Muna kuma sanar da juna halin da muke ciki gaba daya. Don haka mun samu ƙarin dankon zumunci sosai. Muke saboda aikinmu duk tafiya ta ne. Lolin da muke fuskanta na farko shine muna fuskantar matsala harba, wato musu dabbobi suna cewa domin
Holding the tusk of elephant makes me really sad and makes me realize that if we don't continue to do what we are doing very well and even improve on it, it means in the next few years we might have no more elephants. But then when I see what we are doing and the results we are getting, I feel very hopeful. Recently, our rangers were able to arrest a gang of 7 poachers, and some of our go as fast travel all across Nigeria to train other rangers. This couldn't be dreamt of when we started this project.
Sai ya zamana ma mun ƙara yin daraja akan da mun sun ɗauke mu abokan gaba ne, amma saboda ilimin da muka samu muna wayar musu da kai dangane da irin yadda illan da suke kashe dabbobi ko suke sare itatuwa ko kuma suke aikata wasu abubuwa da ba daidai ba a cikin gandu. Muna bi muna dan wayar musu da kai, sai ya zamana mun zama abokansu ba abokan gaba. Abinda nake so mutanen Najeriya su gane saboda tsaron dabbobi da kuma yadda suke shine dabbobin nan da Allah ya bamu su, kowane halitta yana da kyau a bar shi a matsayinsa yadda Allah ya yi shi. Don haka abinda za ka lalata shi ba za ka mai da shi ba, to ka bar shi a inda yake.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact 2, the book is one of the best-selling books of all time.
Most Christians live in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? That's Spanish for how are you? Thank you for preferring and profiling the bookshelf. The bookshelf is a program centered on books, everything positive it represents, and everyone who has a relationship with it. I am Damilola Raphael, factory fitted to be your teaching and learning advocate. Today's episode will be taking on a multi-pronged approach with turning pain to purpose, and you could also say finding purpose for the pain, and other people's interpretation of your passing. Now, when I asked how you are earlier, it was not with the intention to show off another line that I picked up in Spanish. It is the inquiry of someone who truly cares. I'm quite reflective and sober, not the alcohol kind, but the temperate, moderate, serious kind of sober. And it was in one of those moments that Omoteniola Oluo invaded my thoughts again. She lived, really lived. We all pray to live on, but many people do not consider purpose. Omoteniola and her sister, Omotoke, exude purpose. So I'm talking about them in present continuous, right? You should research them. While reading about Tenny again, I stumbled on a journal she had penned way before she passed, and it was posted by her sister, Toke. Now, let's talk about journal. According to Casey Hopewell on Medium.com, a journal commonly records experiences we have had, our thoughts about them, and their possible implications for our future, as well as a lot of other things. But free writing is writing into the unknown. It's about discovery and going beyond personal thoughts and memories. Now, Omoteni writes in the journal dated 7th October 2021, and she titled it, "The Time, the Currency of Life." Time, the currency of life. Every second you spend doing the wrong thing, you're missing out on doing the right things. What should you spend your time doing? Spend your time to develop spiritual stamina, build vital skills, know what makes your purpose more efficient, learn money making and money management skills. That's basically the summary of what she had in that journal right there. And it was dated 7th October, year 2021. Now, Omoteniola has a memorial website on forevermiss.com. Forevermiss.com is a platform which boasts of 265,119 websites. It has 223,826,843 visitors. And according to the last check, the data says it has 5,410,252 tributes. Oleg Andelman, he is the founder of forevermiss.com. And he has this to say on the thought behind creating the website. He said the idea for the online memorial website was first conceived when he decided to recreate the life story of his grandparents. His grandfather served in the military with his brothers during the World War II. He passed away when Oleg was just a child, so he has only vague memories of him. His grandmother faced great hardships raising his dad and his two siblings in impoverished post-war Russia. He has tender memories of her that he will cherish forever. Now, while reflecting upon his grandparents' lives, Oleg was surprised about how little he actually knew about them. It took some efforts for him to uncover precious old photographs hidden away in family albums that he had not even seen before, and also to encourage family members to share what they knew about his grandparents' lives. He also realized that today, in our time that is, families like his or like theirs could use internet to create an online memorial page and easily share memories, photos, and other media with one another. Oleg could see that online memorial sites dedicated to the lives of those people love would go a long way towards bringing separated families together. He said these pages would also eventually help children, grandchildren, and generations to come learn about the lives of their relatives who have passed while they were still young. And so, at the end of the year 2008, Oleg launched forevermiss.com, a place where people could create an online memorial to collect and share memories of the people they had lost. From the very beginning, Oleg's team focused on making this service very easy to use. They had spared no effort in making sure that people with even modest computer skills can easily create a website to remember their loved ones. Now that more and more families are remembering their loved ones on forevermiss.com, they listen closely to their feedback and remain committed to continually improving their services. So let's go back to Teniola. And you could just pick some of the things from there. You should do well to go look up, some posts about her. As they say, the internet never forgets, right? So just go and look up on some things about Teniola. That journal she wrote, 7th October 2021. One of the things she mentioned was to learn customer service. And that's one of the things Oleg mentioned right there, saying that they listen to the customers and, of course, the customers' needs and do well to improve on their services right there on forevermiss.com. Now, I stated earlier that Tenny lived. Like, she really, really lived. She died in her 30s. She died in her 30s, but she lived. You begin to imagine what she would have done or achieved if she stayed longer. But like I always tell people, you don't know how long you're going to be staying, whether on the job, whether even in school. Yes, sometimes you don't know what will happen in school. You don't, because, you could get a transfer or something. Yeah, you get better opportunities, you get a scholarship. Will you insist, no, I'm going to keep paying school fees, and then you can keep your scholarship to yourself? So you don't know how long you're going to spend in a place. You move to a new neighborhood, you're in this new relationship, you've met with this new friend. You don't know how long it is you're going to be staying. So we implore, the right thing for you to do is to really, really live well. Make your mark. Make the most out of it. Make the most out of it. All right? As I said, Tenny was so young when she passed. So we'll be going to forevermiss.com and we'll be checking out some of the comments that, people made about her. But before I read the first, I just dropped the first three actually that I saw. There were tens, hundreds of messages, and there will be more, because remember, it's more like an eternal thing. This internet stuff, it's almost like an eternal thing. You can always get it. They say internet never forget. You can almost get it at any time, any day. Okay. So she lived her life. Remember, today we're discussing writing your epitaph, right? Written beyond the written pages, living beyond the written pages, writing your own epitaph. Okay. So that epitaph is basically what you see on a tombstone. So somebody says XYZ, married, husband, son, uncle, grandfather, lived 19XYZ, 20XYZ to 20XYZ. You understand? Just giving a short reportage, as it were, a brief into that person that's buried right there beneath the tombstone. Now, all of these things that we get to say on the epitaph were not, most of the times, written by the people who were buried beneath. They're written by people who are on the upside, right? Okay. But then they will, in Yoruba parlance, there's this term that says, it is what you do that people will talk about. People will not say what you did not do, right? So begin now to live beyond the written pages. I was listening to somebody who said, God's not going to be asking me, I think Priscilla Shira said it, like, God's not going to be asking me how many people read my book, how many people, he's going to be asking me purpose. That's why I said earlier that a lot of us pray to live long, but then again, how about purpose? Many people don't focus on purpose. They just want to live long. So food is expensive, but you just still want to stay on this side of God's green earth. It's good to really live long, but hey, don't just count the days. Make the days count. That is what is important. So let's go and read the first three comments that I saw right there on forevermiss.com for Teniola Oluwo. This one is titled, A Tribute to a Supportive Sister Friend. Dear Tenny, as she reflects on the memories they shared. I'm going to be reading in the third person. As she reflects on the memories they shared, she is overwhelmed with gratitude for Tenny's support, unwavering support, and boundless creativity. Her talent as a stylist is unmatched, setting her apart as one of Nigeria's finest. Tenny has been her champion, continuously cheering for her and her agency anytime they call on her. Tenny's presence in her life has been a gift beyond measure. There is nothing she does or calls Tenny for that she didn't show up, offering her unwavering support and creative insight. Tenny's legacy as a supportive friend will forever live on in the hearts of all who were fortunate enough to know her. Her kindness, her talent, and her passion for her craft will continue to inspire everyone. Okay, so this writer says she is eternally grateful for the time they shared and the impact that Tenny had in her life. Rest in peace, dear Tenny, knowing that your spirit will always be cherished and remembered with love and admiration. And she says, with deepest gratitude and affection, Dr. Yeti Ogunubi. That was the first comment right there. I tried opening on multiple sites, different browsers, just to be sure that I'm not cherry picking. I just wanted to pick the first three. Remember, I said the first three, not top three. There is no top anything. It's just about their relationship. The perception is one of those things I mentioned earlier. The perception of this person's persona, who she was to them. So it's not about who wrote what's best or what. It's just the first three that we are going to be reading now. So I'm taking the first one right there. Let's move to this other one. This is the second one I saw. Omoteniola, and I will be reading in the third person as well. One of the people who held space for those who love colors. She never got to meet Teniola, but Teniola's energy was inspiring. And from there, she got to follow her sister, and that's her sister Toke, right? And her brother Tolu. How does she say she loves the family, that's Tenny's family, that she had never met? Life is funny. She was looking forward to seeing Teniola one day. Her passing on is still a shock to her, and her sister is making extra effort to comfort the online viewers, and she is surprised and inspired at the same time. Tenny will be greatly missed. Rest on. Omolefe Owobo dropped that one. See what I'm saying? Perception of the person's persona. They never met. Oh my goodness. That's why it's called internet, right? Interconnectivity. Amazing. So let's go to this next read. This person also says, she never knew Sister Tenny, but all she has heard about her inspired her. Thank you. She thanks Tenny for shining her light. Rest well. Very brief, right? Very straight to the point. And that was written right there by Mercy Morris. People's perception. They believe she was light, right? And if you look up on Tenny, she's a woman of colors. You'll see on the screen the picture. My goodness, blending. May her soul rest in peace, right? Let us take this break. On our return, the bookshelf will touch on other prongs. Remember, we said it's a multi-pronged approach on the bookshelf for today. The bookshelf will be back shortly. You're welcome back. Thank you very sincerely for keeping faith with us right here on the bookshelf on Western Spring Television. So today we are looking at writing your epitaph. All right. And I already took on the story of Tenny. We talked about how the inspiration behind the founding of ForeverMiss.com. And we said that epitaphs are usually, most of the time, not written, or maybe, should I say in time past, not written by the person beneath that tombstone. Okay, but in recent years, people have been inspired, encouraged for them to begin to write their own epitaph, what they want people to put on their tombstone. But guess what? It is not so much about what has been penned down. Sometimes people may not find them missing in transit. Somebody decides to sit on it for whatever reason. But what you do, the life you live beyond the written pages, like that Yoruba parlance says, is whatever you do, that people will talk about. It is whatever you do, the people will talk about. And that is what they will pen right there. And don't just live, just an ordinary, dry life. Okay, so let's just stay here. Things are expensive, but come on, we can cope. We can really, really live. I want to say it about you as well, that you really, really, really live. So let's move on and go way back some years, not so long ago, 2017. T.Y. Bello, singer, songwriter, photographer, really hairdresser, somehow, cosmetology, right? Cosmetologist, okay. Now, she wrote about a dear lady that she met. I'll read that post in the third person. Power of words, that's why. So, T.Y. Bello says she remembers meeting her many weeks ago. Now, the person she's writing about, her name is Nike Disu, and she's known as Mamata. Okay. So, T.Y. Bello says she remembers meeting her many weeks ago. That was at that time. And she walked up to T.Y. Bello and asked if that was T.Y. Bello, the photographer. I've been looking for you, she said. She pulled T.Y. in, looked straight into her eyes and said, I really, really want you to take my portrait. She says she was terminally ill. She'd like T.Y.'s images of her to be what people would remember her by. She wanted the photos to be happy and very beautiful. Now, T.Y. froze. Whoa. And then she tried to pretend like what the lady just said, that Nike Disu just said, didn't knock all the air out of her. But she never stopped smiling. That's Nike Disu now. She never stopped smiling. And she was asking, okay, so when do they take the pictures and all that? And she had said something so heavy, something so profound. And T.Y. did not know how to react. So they exchanged numbers. And then the woman sent T.Y. a message soon after. But she still did not know how to take it in until one morning. Sometimes they say one morning, say one morning. Until one morning, T.Y. was praying and reading Isaiah 61. And she said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, anointed me to bring beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning. And then she heard, call Mrs. Disu. T.Y. did, and T.Y. gifted Mrs. Disu a portrait session for a few days later. Mrs. Disu came in a little quiet at first, but T.Y. saw her spirits lift as the hair and makeup started to come together. T.Y., I look beautiful. That was how a most amazing day began with this beautiful woman with very deep dimples. They had a blast, singing, dancing, playing dress up with her daughter, belly laughs. They had an incredible session. At some point in the middle of the shoot, as they changed outfits, Mrs. Disu looked excitedly at T.Y. and said, T.Y., you know what? She was going to beat this thing. T.Y. looked at her and responded, that's the spirit. She absolutely was going to. Mrs. Disu gave T.Y. a high five and they continued what she calls one of her most exciting shoots till date. She ended the day by saying a heartfelt prayer for T.Y. And T.Y. remembers telling someone her shoot was God's gift to her. She brought it all to T.Y. Beauty in the purest form and the oil of joy in Isaiah 61. She was so inspired and lifted. It also helped her put what she does into proper perspective. That it's really not about T.Y. and her gift. That the people she gets to meet, bond with, and photograph are God's gifts to her. Mrs. Disu sent her prayers, Bible verses, and inspiring write-ups every day after taking her photographs. She also sent a beautiful thank you note when she got her photos and found time to send gifts to the beauty squad she met at the shoot. It was her birthday last Sunday. That was at the time of writing this. Her daughter told T.Y. that she was so happy. She also did something really strange. She kept sending her portraits to everyone she knew. She was up till the wee hours of the next morning, sending out the photos and laughing. They kept teasing her about it, but she wouldn't stop. She died later on that day. And TY says she guesses it was her way of saying goodbye. She remembered Frizida, that's the woman's daughter, obviously, sending her news of her passing. She was in a mess, that's TY. She was shocked, she was disappointed. I mean, Mrs. Diesel was meant to beat this. She had changed the narrative, and she told TY that herself. She didn't understand it until she got to spend a few hours with her children some days, and then they described what her last days were like. She was joyful, she was peaceful, she found her own way to say goodbye, she was ready. And as she sat in her week keep and listened to person after person come out and testify about her beautiful spirit and how she lived every day to the fullest, TY also remembered certain things she had said to her during the shoot, how she wanted her children to know that she gave it everything and did her very best. Then it occurred to TY she was right. She did beat this thing. She didn't let it stop her from living till she took her last breath. She lived and loved and laughed and smiled to the very end. She was ready. She was prepared. Unfortunately, most people do not get that opportunity to prepare for eternity and say goodbye. It got her thinking, if only 100 years more, it would all still go by really fast. All right. And then, of course, she talked about what the Bible says about man's life being vapor, eternity being certain, every day being one day closer to when we meet our Maker. But are we ready? That's the question. And of course, she had a hashtag and all that. Now, there is a song by Flats and Scruggs, an American bluegrass duo with singer and guitarist Lester Flatt and banjo player Earl Scruggs, both of whom had been members of Bill Monroe's band, the Bluegrass Boys, from 1945 to 1948. And then they formed the duo in 1948, writing the song titled Give Me the Flowers While I Am Living. And that song was released in 1960. Now, I stated earlier that it is going to be a multi-pronged approach today. Next, we are turning on ourselves as stakeholders, the doers of these deeds. And again, because I understand the power of words, I'll recite the next poem in the third and first person pronoun. I've seen it captioned with different headings by different authors and with little alteration, so I wouldn't be giving credit to anyone. It says, when I'm dead and gone, your tears will flow like a river, but I won't know. Cry with me now instead. You will send flowers, but I won't see. Send them now instead. You'll say words of praise, but I won't hear. Praise me now instead. You will forget my faults, but I won't know. Forget them now instead. You'll miss me then, but I wouldn't feel. Miss me now instead. You'll wish you could have spent more time with me. Spend it now instead. You would wish you could have spent all your money on me. Spend now instead. When you hear I'm gone forever, you find your way to my house at all costs to pay condolence, but we haven't even seen or spoken in years. Please look for me now. This is very, very touching. This is like the heart cry of someone, you know, who is saying, do it now instead. So as we are looking at, okay, what can we do for other people? Let us also remember that we are living out our lives every day beyond the written pages, because what you do is what people will definitely talk about and write about. And it will be open for others to see. Don't forget the internet. Never forget. On this note, I get to wrap it up. On the bookshelf for today, please do not take this as a call to sorrow, but as a call to really, really live. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Bookshelf, where we will be doing better at teaching, learning, and becoming better. I'm your teaching and learning advocate, Damilola Raphael, and I am saying adios. Dios los bendiga.
ìlú Abẹ́òkúta gẹ́gẹ́ bí orúkọ rẹ̀ ìlú tí a tẹ̀dó sábẹ́ Olúmọ. Ó jẹ́ ibùgbé àwọn ẹ̀yà Ẹ̀gbá àti Òwu tó jìjàǹgbara lọ́wọ́ Aláàfin Ọ̀yọ́ àtijọ́. Láàrin ọdún 1775 sí 1780 ni akọni Lísàbí Àgbòǹgbò Àkàlà léwájú wọn láti dáwọ́ sísan ìṣákọ́lẹ̀ fún Aláàfin dúró. Ìdí nìyí tí àwọn ọmọ Abẹ́òkúta ṣe ń pe ara wọn ní ọmọ Ẹ̀gbámọ Lísàbí Àgbòǹgbò Àkàlà. Ìlú Abẹ́òkúta jẹ́ ìlú àwọn ọ̀làjú àti aláfẹ́. Ọ̀pọ̀ òyìnbó láwọ̀ fún ló fi bẹ̀ ṣe ìlú pàápàá lásìkò ìjọ àmì. Ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì àkọ́kọ́ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ní Spirit ní akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ Sacred Heart Hospital ìlú Aláké lórúkọ oyè ọba ìlú Ẹ̀gbá ẹ̀sìn olúwàtú tẹ gbogbo ìlú Abẹ́òkúta ní oríkè náà. Àwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n tí wọ́n pọ̀ lórí ìlú Abẹ́òkúta àwọn bíi ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Wọlé Ṣóyínká, ọ̀jìnmí akọni obìnrin ní Fúnmiláyọ̀ tí àtọ̀pọ̀ àwọn míì. Iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àti àdìrẹ níṣẹ́ tó gbayì nílùú Abẹ́òkúta. Ẹ̀gbámọ Lísàbí. Ìlú Ìbàdàn ni olú ìlú àti ìlú tí ó tóbi jù ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tó wà ní ẹkùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn gúúsù ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Kò dín ní èèyàn bíi mílíọ̀nù 6 tó ní ìgboro ìlú Ìbàdàn nìkan ṣoṣo. Odù Ifá ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì ni àwọn Yorùbá gbàgbọ́ pé ó tẹ ìlú Ìbàdàn dó. Àwọn ọmọ ìlú Ìbàdàn jẹ́ akíkanjú, wọ́n fẹ́ràn ìdàgbàsókè, ọ̀làjú ni wọ́n. Àwọn baba ńlá wọn sì jẹ́ jagunjagun. Àbájọ tí a fi máa ń gbọ́ nínú oríkì wọn pé Ìbàdàn Mèsì Ọ̀gọ̀ nílé Olúyọ̀lé, ìlú Ògúnmọ́lá olódògbò kẹ̀rí lójú ogun, Ìbàdàn ọmọ àjòròsàn, ọmọ àjẹ̀gbínyó, ọmọ àfikàràhùn fọ́ orí mu. Olúbàdàn lórúkọ oyè ọba ilẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Máyẹ̀ Okùn Adé ló kọ́kọ́ jẹ baálẹ̀ nìbàdàn. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlú ńlá, ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn iléeṣẹ́ àti àjọ ńláńlá ló wà nílùú Ìbàdàn tó nílé tó gbé àlejò ọmọdé sóò.
Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ló ń kojú àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn ará àwùjọ tí ohun ò dẹ̀ dókè. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìnira, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìyà làwọn èèyàn ń kojú rẹ̀ ní àdúgbò. Ojú ọ̀nà tó kù díẹ̀ káàtó, iná ọba tó mẹ́ẹ̀ tó ń ṣe ségesège, àwọn tó ń ìwà àbàṣejẹ́ obì tí ń sun lẹ́rùn, àti àwọn nǹkan tí ò tí ì dé tí gbọ́ ìjọba. Ṣé wọ́n ní etí ọba nílé etí ọba lóko, èèyàn náà ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Òun náà ló jẹ́ kí ìkànnì Western Spring Television gbé ètò tí ó jẹ́ kẹ́yìn ara lé ẹ̀yin ará àwùjọ kẹ́lẹ́ mọ́ sọ bí tí bàtà bá ti ń ta yín lẹ́sẹ̀ fún àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ni wípé ẹ mú fóònù yín, ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yín, ẹ dàbù rẹ̀, ẹ mọ̀ yá ní gbọ́rọ̀, ẹ dàbù rẹ̀, ẹ ṣe àkàálẹ̀ ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó ìjọba, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn aláṣẹ, ohun tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó àwọn elétò ìlera, àwọn elétò ààbò àti àwọn míì tí ọ̀rọ̀ kàn. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí fọ́nrán náà ìyẹn fídíò tẹ́ máa ṣe àkálẹ̀ rẹ̀ kó mọ̀ ju ìṣẹ́jú 2 tàbí 3 lọ. Ẹ máa fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí WhatsApp lórí ẹ̀rọ 0803 865 1049 0803 865 1049. Ẹ jẹ́ kí gbogbo àwọn fọ́nrán yín, àwọn àwòrán yín kó máa wọlé. Orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí, ẹ̀yin gangan lẹ jẹ́ ojú ẹlẹ́rìí. Ohun táwọn èèyàn nílò, ohun tó ń jẹ àwọn èèyàn láwùjọ níyà, ilé tí ò nílé ìgbọ̀nsẹ̀, ibi tí ò níbi tó ti ń dẹ ẹ̀gbin nù, tó wá jẹ́ pé ẹ̀gbin wọn ní àwọn ará àdúgbò, àwọn aráàlú lára. Gbogbo ẹ̀ ẹ fi tó àwọn aláṣẹ létí. Ohun tẹ́ ẹ nílò ní agbègbè yín, ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn aláṣẹ mọ̀. Orúkọ mi ni Adéyẹmí Ọlábọ̀dé. Èmi ni atọ́kùn ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí lórí Western Spring Television. Ìkànnì 150 ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Ajé láago 2:30 ọ̀sán.
Western Spring Television. ours it is.
ẹ ṣeun gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tí mo wà lórí àkọ́tún ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí ojú ẹ̀rí ló ń dé sí ìwòran yín láti Western Spring Television ìkànnì àádọ́wà channel 190 láwà ní orí Star Times Day TT ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ẹ ṣeun tẹ̀ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ mi ní ọjọ́ tòní ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ń wò wá fún ìgbà àkọ́kọ́ tẹ́ ń wò pé kí la máa ń ṣe lórí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí kí la máa ń mú wá ní gbogbo ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ kò sóhun méjì tá a máa ń ṣe kò sóhun méjì tá a máa ń mú wá ju ohun tó bá ń jẹ aráàlú níyà ohun tó bá ní àwọn èèyàn lára ohun tó bá ń jẹ́ kí aráàlú ó mọ rí pọ̀npọ̀nà yàn ládùúgbò wọn ní ìlú wọn lágbègbè wọn nípínlẹ̀ wọn kódà lórílẹ̀‐èdè tẹ́ bá wà kò síbi tọ́wọ́jẹ́ ìrìn wọn òde òun lọ́rọ̀ ojú ẹlẹ́rìí ohun tẹ́yìn ó bá wa ṣe láti lè jẹ́ kí àwọn aláṣẹ tẹ́ fẹ́ kí wọ́n mọ ìyà tó ń jẹ yín tẹ́ fẹ́ kí wọ́n gbọ́ ariwo yín ó mọ̀ ni pé ẹ bá wa mú fóònù yín o ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yín ẹ mú lọ síbi tí ẹ bá fẹ́ káwọn aláṣẹ orí bóyá nípa ojú ọ̀nà ni bóyá nípa omi ẹ̀rọ ni bóyá nípa iná ọba ni ẹ mú fóònù yín lọ agbègbè tí yà ń jẹ tàbí tó ń rí ìpèníjà kan àbómi ẹ gbé báyìí ẹ dàbù rẹ̀ ló ń dídàbù bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti dàbù rẹ̀ ẹ yẹ àwòrán yín kọ́ mọ́lẹ̀ kétékété ọwọ́ yín ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ̀n bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti yà á kó mọ̀ ju bí ìṣẹ́jú méjì àbí mẹ́ta ẹ fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí WhatsApp bàbá ti rí àwòrán fọ́tò àbáwòrán fídíò yín kó tó di ọjọ́ ajé àwa náà gbé jáde fún àwọn aláṣẹ tẹ́ fẹ́ kí wọ́n fi ojú rí nǹkan tó ẹ̀ ń là kọjá ohun tó ń jẹ yín níyà ní àdúgbò tẹ́ wà níbi tẹ́ wà mo kí yín o Adéyẹmí Ọlábọ̀dé lórúkọ tèmi ń jẹ́ yàtọ̀ fún pé ojú ẹlẹ́rìí máa ń wáyé lórí móhùnmáwòrán ti Western Spring Television ìkànnì àádọ́wà channel 190 lórí Star Times Day TT bákan náà lẹ́tún lè máa wò wá lórí ìtàkùn ayélujára ní orí YouTube ẹ tẹ Western Spring Television kájọ mọ́ bára wa rìn kájọ mọ́ nǹkan tó ń lọ lórí ìkànnì yìí ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ọjọ́ tòní àwọn fọ́nrán ti pọ̀ tí wọ́n ti fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa lórí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí lọ́jọ́ tòní ibi àkọ́kọ́ tí wọ́n ti fi àwòrán ṣọwọ́ sí wa òun náà ni agbègbè Kọjú Foam nípa ojú ọ̀nà tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó ẹni yìí fi fọ́nrán àwòrán ìṣọwọ́ sí wa wọ́n ní fọ́nrán tí ẹ̀ ń wò yìí ni fọ́nrán ojú ọ̀nà wa láti Kọjú Foam ní ìlú Òṣogbo ẹ jọ̀wọ́ a bẹ̀ gómìnà láti ṣe àánú wa lórí ojú ọ̀nà wa ipò tí ọ̀nà yìí wà ó burú jáì ipò tí ọ̀nà yìí wà ó ń fa ìfàsẹ́yìn fún àdúgbò yìí ipò tí ọ̀nà yìí wà wọ́n ní ó ń fi ẹ̀mí àwọn èèyàn sínú ewu omíyalé àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù nítorí àìsí àmójútó fún etí odò àbí ká sọ pé àìsí àmójútó tó péye fún ojú odò tí ẹ ń wò tómi ń gba agbègbè rẹ̀ kọjá yìí wọ́n ní àwọn bẹ̀ gómìnà tọ̀ àjẹ́ pé táwọn onímọ̀ ẹ̀rọ bá rí bẹ̀rùn àwọn ni ó sọ bóyá afárá ni wọ́n nílò àbí kòtò ìdáminù tá a mọ̀ sí culvert tó fẹ̀jú dáadáa láti lè jẹ́ kí omi ó mọ́ lọ kómi ó mọ́ lọ yàbá àwọn èèyàn tó wà lágbègbè náà ẹ̀yin aláṣẹ ìjọba tẹ́ bá fẹ́ rí ibi tí ẹ̀ ń wò lójú ìwòran yìí ó wà ní agbègbè Kọjú Foam wọ́n ní ìlú Òṣogbo lọ́wọ́ ní agbègbè náà ojú ọ̀nà náà ó mẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìwà Mrs. Adeniji Bukola Great ni wọ́n fi àwọn ìṣọwọ́ sí láti Kọjú Foam ní Òṣogbo ní àjẹ́ àkúrò níbẹ̀ jẹ́ kí a tún lọ sí ibòmíì tí wọ́n ti fi àwòrán ṣọwọ́ sí wa lórí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí ọ̀rọ̀ nípa ojútò àgbàrá tó fi àmójútó láti odò Lákàtà ní ìlú Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun ibẹ̀ náà ti fi àwòrán ìṣọwọ́ òun náà lẹ́yìn wò ní ojú móhùnmáwòrán yìí bá wa gba àwòrán ń báwọn ẹ dákun ẹni yìí wọ́n kọ àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ wọn ní Mr. Speaker ẹ kú iṣẹ́ o mo mọrírì ìgbésẹ̀ yín ẹ jọ̀wọ́ mo nílò láti fi tó yín létí láti gbàdégbà nípa ìṣòro wa ìṣòro omíyalé agbọ́dáyà ṣọ́ọ̀bù lágbègbè odò Lákàtà ní ìlú Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun ṣé Lákàtà ni àbí Lákàtà ẹ má bínú agbègbè Lákàtà ní Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun wọ́n ní ó ti ṣe tó bí ọ̀sẹ̀ kan sẹ́yìn báyìí tí òjò alágbára kan rọ̀ òjò àrọ̀rọ̀dá tó yọrí sí ẹ̀kún omi ìyẹn omíyalé ní ìlú Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun wọ́n ní ó rọ̀ ní ọjọ́ 26 oṣù kẹwàá tá a lò tán yìí ọdún 2024 wọ́n ní ó jẹ́ òjò tó bá àyàn lọ́kàn jẹ́ wọ́n ní ó sì jẹ́ kí akùdé kó dé bá àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n ń lò lágbègbè yìí wọ́n ní òjò yìí ó ti ba odò Lákàtà jẹ́ wọ́n ní àwọn kò lè kọjá lásìkò tí òjò bá ń rọ̀ wọ́n ní àwọn ilé wọn gan tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ wọ́n ní ó ti mú kí ìdíwọ́ dé bá wọn wọ́n láwọn ń bẹ àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba kí wọ́n mọ ìṣòro wọn ní Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun kí wọ́n wá ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ láti bá wọn ṣe ojútò tí àgbàrá ó mọ̀ gbà ìyẹn ojútò àgbàrá wọ́n ní àwòrán ibẹ̀ náà lẹ́ ń wò yìí láti ọ̀dọ̀ Alábẹ́léwé láti Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun Lákàtà ibẹ̀ náà ti fi àwòrán ìṣọwọ́ sí wa ní ọjọ́ tòní ẹ jẹ́ ká wá lọ sí agbègbè míì ní orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí ojú ọ̀nà tẹ́ fẹ́ wò yìí ni ojú ọ̀nà tó ń fi àmójútó ìkóríta Biket sí Ọ̀tà Ẹ̀fún ibẹ̀ lẹ fẹ́ wò lójú ìwòran yìí ẹ̀yin náà wo nǹkan tí wọ́n fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa o ẹ̀yin rí agbègbè ibo ṣe rí pé bí tó jẹ́ pé àti lọ́mọ ọ̀gán ó ti di dẹ́wọ́ ní àwọn tó gbègbè láti ojú ọ̀nà wọn tí ó gbèrè fi àmójú kí wọ́n bá wọn wá gbègbè ìkóríta Biket lọ sí ọjà náà ní Ọ̀tà Ẹ̀fún ẹni tó fọwọ́ ni àbòkẹ́bí rówó láti pẹ̀dọ̀ lọ sí Ọ̀tà Ẹ̀fún ní agbègbè òyìnbó bó ṣe jẹ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ tó fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa. ìjẹ́rò kásìgbè tó lè lẹ́rìí agbègbè ní agbègbè àbí ká sọ pé àwọn agbègbè tó nílò ojú ọ̀nà ẹ máa gbọ́ àwọn agbègbè náà o èkíní Olúdé ìkejì Ilẹ̀ Ìdáǹdè ìkẹta Ọ̀bà ọ̀nà Ọ̀bà òun lẹ̀ ń wò yìí ojú ọ̀nà Ọ̀bà lẹ̀ ń wò ní ojú ìwòran yìí ojú ọ̀nà Olúdé Ilẹ̀ Ìdáǹdè ọ̀nà Ọ̀bà ibi tẹ́ ń wò yìí ó wà nípò tó bani lọ́kàn jẹ́ tójò bá ti lè rọ̀ báyìí ìnira ló máa ń kojú àwọn tó ní ilé àwọn tó jẹ́ pé kò sójúmọ́ kan ju ayé kán mọ́ kọjá ní ojú ọ̀nà yìí wọ́n láwọn rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ sí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun wọ́n láwọn ń ké gbẹ̀járe sí gómìnà sẹ́nitọ́ Adémọ́lá Nurudeen Jackson Adeleke láti gbà wọ́n kalẹ̀ o kán bá wọn wá ojútùú sí ọ̀rọ̀ ojú ọ̀nà wọn kán lè bá wọn ṣe ojú ọ̀nà ní Olúdé Ilẹ̀ Ìdáǹdè Old Ọba Road ní ìlú Òṣogbo gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ yẹn ṣọwọ́ wọ́n ní àwọn agbègbè tí wọ́n mẹ́nu bà yìí wọ́n ní wọ́n wà níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ọlọ́rundá ìyẹn Ọlọ́rundá local government ibẹ̀ ni agbègbè tẹ́ ń wò lójú ìwòran yìí wà ẹ já kúrò níbẹ̀ ibòmíì tá a tún fẹ́ lọ lórí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí òun náà ni iléèwé tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó iléèwé tó ń fẹ́ àmójútó Akínọ̀run Grammar School ni wọ́n ti fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ ìṣọwọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tí wọ́n kọ ní iléèwé Akínọ̀run Grammar School wọ́n ní lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí wọ́n ní ọ̀rọ̀ náà ti dójú ọ̀gbagadè wọ́n ní ìṣèjọba ọ̀gbẹ́ni Rauf Arẹ́gbẹ́ṣọlá ló kọ́ iléèwé pẹ̀lú ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ owó kó lè wúlò wọ́n ní àmọ́ ṣá iléèwé yìí ibẹ̀ ni àwọn ọmọ olú ọmọ ìlú Ìkìrun àwọn tó jẹ́ èèkàn lọ́kùnrin lóbìnrin ní ìlú Ìkìrun àtàyíká rẹ̀ ti kọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ tó yè kooro wọ́n ní ó ti wá ń di ibi tó bani lọ́kàn jẹ́ wọ́n ló ti ń di ibi tó mú ẹ̀dùn ọkàn báni wọ́n ní gbogbo àwọn yàrá ìkàwé ní ò sí nípò tó dáa mọ́ wọ́n ní àwọn òrùlé gbọ̀ngàn wọn ìyẹn all roof òun náà lẹ́yìn náà ń wò ní ojú ìwòran yìí hùn ẹni gbogbo gíláàsì wọn ẹ gbogbo fèrèsé wọn ẹ gbogbo ti fẹ́ ìyọ̀tàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tí wọ́n fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa fọ́nrán òrùlé wọn ẹ mọ̀ wò nínú àwọn àwòrán tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́ yìí òun lẹ̀ ń wò yìí fọ́nrán òrùlé wọn lélẹ́yìí o ẹni bó ṣe rí iléèwé tí wọ́n ná ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ mílíọ̀nù sí ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọdún sẹ́yìn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun òun lẹ̀ ń wò yìí o wọ́n ké sí gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ yìí lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ìyẹn gómìnà Adémọ́lá Adélékè láti gbà wọ́n kalẹ̀ kán bá wọn ṣe iléèwé Akínọ̀run Grammar School wọ́n ké sí iléeṣẹ́ fún ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ìyẹn Ministry of Education kán bá wọn wá nǹkan àmúṣà lóògùn lórí Akínọ̀run Grammar School wọ́n ní Ìkìrun àgbèwà Ọ̀ṣun adára ọ̀gbẹ́ni Adébáyọ̀ Láwálé lórúkọ gbogbo àwọn ọmọ bíbí ìlú Ìkìrun tí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kàn àwọn ni wọ́n ń rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ tí wọ́n ń ké gbàjarè sí àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba ẹ wá jẹ́ ká lọ sí òdì kejì tá a bá lọ tá a bá dé ètò yín ètò wa Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí yóò tẹ̀ síwájú níkànnì Western Spring Television àmọ́.
Àbújá ni olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ọjọ́ 12 oṣù 12 ọdún 1991 ni wọ́n gbé ibùjókòó agbára Nàìjíríà kúrò nílùú Èkó lọ sílùú Àbújá lásìkò ìṣèjọba ológun ọ̀gágun fẹ̀yìntì Ibrahim Babangida. Ìlú Àbújá ni ìlú kẹjọ tí èrò pọ̀ sí jùlọ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Ó sì jẹ́ ìlú olódi tó wà ní àárín gbùngbùn. Gbogbo àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ àti àjọ ìjọba kọ̀ọ̀kan ló ní olú ọ́fíìsì wọn nílùú Àbújá. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ pé ibẹ̀ gan ni ibùjókòó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà. Lọ́dún 2003 ni àjọ Commonwealth gbé ìpàdé wọn wá síbẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni àjọ olókoòwò nílẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ ṣe lọ́dún 2014. Kódà lọ́dún 2016 àjọ tó ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọmọdé ìyẹn UNESCO gbà á gẹ́gẹ́ bí ibùdó ìkẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọn. Díẹ̀ lára àwọn ibùdó tó gbajúgbajà nílùú Àbújá ni àpáta agbára Aso Rock, ilé aṣòfin àpapọ̀, ilé aṣojúṣòfin ilẹ̀ yìí, àpáta Zuma Rock, Millennium Park, báńkì àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà CBN, mọ́ṣáláṣí àpapọ̀ àti ibùdó ilé ìjọsìn àpapọ̀ àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì. Ẹkùn ìdìbò 6 ló wà nílùú Àbújá: Abaji, Buhari, Gwagwalada, Kuje, Kwali àti Abuja Municipal. Kílìṣì tó jẹ́ ohun ìpanu tí wọ́n fi ẹran pèsè ló jẹ́ oúnjẹ tó wọ́pọ̀ tí gbogbo èèyàn sì nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí nílùú Àbújá. Ó jẹ́ ibùdó ìsinmi fún ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn arìnrìn-àjò láti ẹkùn kọ̀ọ̀kan nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà nítorí pé àárín gbùngbùn ló wà. Ìlú Àbújá rèé o, ibùdó agbára ìṣàkóso ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà, ògo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. New York nílùú ńlá tó tóbi jù nílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà. Kódà iye ènìyàn tó wà níbẹ̀ ló fi ìdá méjì ju ti ìlú Los Angeles lọ. Ó jẹ́ ibùdó fún oríṣiríṣi àṣà, ìgbafẹ́, iṣẹ́ ọnà, ìmọ̀ ẹ̀rọ, òṣèlú, ẹ̀kọ́, ọrọ̀ ajé kódà tó fi máa rẹ́ ìdárayá. New York yìí ló gbàlejò ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ olùdókòwò kárí ayé tó sì fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ gidi gan ni. Ìdí nìyí tí àwọn kan fi máa ń pè é ní olú ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. Ohun ìdámọ̀ tó gbajúgbajà jù ní New York ní ère òmìnira Statue of Liberty, eléyìí tó ń ṣàfihàn bí ìlú náà ṣe fàyè gba onílé àtàlejò. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni afárá Brooklyn kò lẹ́gbẹ́. Ó kéré tán ẹgbẹ̀rin ní oríṣi èdè tí wọ́n ń sọ ní New York. Èyí ló sì fa bí wọ́n ṣe máa ń sọ pé gbogbo èdè àgbáyé ló pé sílùú New York. Ní nǹkan ọdún 1624 ni àwọn èèyàn ẹ̀yà Dutch tẹ̀dó sí ibi tó ń jẹ́ New York báyìí. Amsterdam ni wọ́n ń pè é tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà náà, àmọ́ lọ́dún 1664 ni wọ́n yí padà sí New York lẹ́yìn tí ọba King Charles kejì tilẹ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì fún arákùnrin rẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ ìyẹn Duke of York. Láti ọdún 1785 ló ti wá di olú ìlú ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà títí di òní olónìí. Ó jẹ́ ìlú ńlá tó kún fún ọ̀pọ̀ iṣẹ́ ọnà àti ibùdó iṣẹ́ àtinúdá oríṣiríṣi fún gbogbo ìran ọmọnìyàn. Ìlú New York lórílẹ̀-èdè Amẹ́ríkà.
ẹ ṣeun tẹ́lẹ̀ àbọ̀ sórí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí ìkànnì Western Spring Television ló ti ń dé sí ojú ìwòran yín. ẹ ṣeun ẹ má gbàgbé bí a ṣe ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ tẹ̀ ń wò wá lórí móhùnmáwòrán. Ẹ lè máa darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára lórí YouTube ẹ tẹ Western Spring Television. Ẹ má wá gbàgbé láti bá wa dọ̀rẹ́, ẹ tẹ̀lé wa, ẹ bá wa rìn kájọ máa fara kínra ní orí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára bákan náà. Ní orí ìtàkùn ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ Facebook ẹ tẹ Western Spring Television. Ní orí X tá a mọ̀ sí Twitter tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ẹ tẹ Western Spring Television. Òun náà lẹ́tẹ̀ o tẹ́ fi wá wa rí ní orí Instagram. Ẹ ṣeun tí àjọ ń bá ètò náà bọ̀. Ó yá pápápá ká sáré lọ sí orí àwọn àwòrán tí àwọn èèyàn ti fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa. Torí àwọn tó bá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń tan móhùnmáwòrán tó ń wò pé àwọn bó làwọn èèyàn ti ké gbàjarè, àwọn bó làwọn èèyàn ti fi àwòrán ṣọwọ́ lórí ètò ojú ẹlẹ́rìí, àwọn bó ni wọ́n ti ké sí ìjọba láti wá nǹkan mú sàlógún lórí agbègbè wọn. Ibi àkọ́kọ́ tá a kọ́kọ́ lọ òun náà ni agbègbè Kọjú Fòm. Òun lẹ́ ń wò yìí o, àgbàrá òjò ló hàn wọ́n lè mọ̀. Àmọ́ ẹ pé tídò níbi tá à ń sọ yìí, ṣùgbọ́n ó ń fi àmójútó. Ẹni tó fi àwòrán ìṣọwọ́ sí wa náà ni abilékọ Adéníjì Bukola Margaret. Wọ́n ní kí wọ́n ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Wọ́n ní láti Kọjú Fòm Òṣogbo. Wọ́n lẹ́ gómìnà Èṣù ti ṣàánú ojú ọ̀nà yìí. Wọ́n náà wọ́n lè kọrin retí ìjọba tó wà lórí àlééfà torí ìyà àti ìnira tí omi yìí tó ń mú bá àwọn. Wọ́n ló kúrò ní Kèrèmí o. Bíbí ìṣe wò kátẹ́mi rí pé wọ́n béèrè ní pé kí bàbá wọn fẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe ojú ọ̀nà tí ọmọ gbà gerege tí ò ní lọ máa ṣe ṣùtá fún àwọn tó wà lágbègbè yìí ó jẹ́ ohun tí wọ́n fi wọ́ sí àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba. yàtọ̀ sí àtìkò míì ojú àgbàrá tó ń fi àmójútó yẹn ní ojú odò Lákàtà ní ìlú Ẹ̀rìn Ọ̀ṣun. ẹ má bínú tí n bá pè dáadáa ojú odò yìí wọ́n ní ó ń fẹ́ àmójútó gẹ́gẹ́ bí àlàyé tí wọ́n ṣe sí wa wọ́n ṣe fún wa pé àwọn fẹ́ fi tó ìjọba létí nípa ìṣòro àgbàrá ẹ̀kún omi tó máa ń ní wọ́n lára ní gbogbo agbègbè yìí. wọ́n ní ọjọ́ sátidé ọjọ́ 26 oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024 wọ́n ní òjò alágbára kan rọ̀. wọ́n ní látàrí àwọn ojú ọ̀nà tó mímọ́ ń gbà ìyẹn Lákàtà lójú odò Lákàtà ìyẹn drainage wọ́n ló ti ní akùdé ó ti bàjẹ́. mo lérò wípé onáà ẹlẹ́wọ̀n lójú ìwòran yìí wọ́n ló ti bàjẹ́ torí eléyìí omi ọ̀gbàbẹ̀ mọ́ ọ̀tọ̀ níbi tó mi ń gbà wọ́n á ń fẹ́ kí ìjọba báwọn ṣe ohun tó tọ́. wọ́n nítorí àwọn ilé tó wà ní agbègbè ibi tódò yìí wà wọ́n ti ń fara kásá wọ́n ti ń fara kó. ẹ dákun èèyàn aláṣẹ ìjọba ẹ bá wọn wá ìgbésẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ fọ́rọ̀ iṣẹ́ òde ẹ bá wọn pa kìtì mọ́lẹ̀ lórí agbègbè náà. ibòmíì tí a tún fẹ́ fi hàn yín tá a ti fi hàn yín lẹ́yìn òun náà ni ojú ọ̀nà tó ń fi àmójútó agbègbè Biket lọ sí ọjà Ọ̀tà Ẹfun ìlú Òṣogbo lágbègbè yìí wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. òun lẹ̀ ń wò yìí wọ́n ní ojú ọ̀nà wọ́n ní ó ń fi àmójútó kán bá wọn ṣe ojú ọ̀nà náà. ohun táwọn náà nílò òun lójú ọ̀nà lára ojú ọ̀nà sì rèé kò sí bí wọn ò ṣe ní ṣe ibi tí omi ọmọ gbà kọjá ń bẹ̀. ó jẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ láti ọ̀dọ̀ ẹni tó ṣọwọ́ sí wa Abdulkaru rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ sí gómìnà Adémọ́lẹ́kì wọn tó jẹ́ ọmọ wọn àwọn ìjọ ọ̀rọ̀ bá kàn kán bá wọn òmùgùn. láàbí àti ní ìpínlẹ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ ìfìyànjọ́ nílò ètò ìjọba òun náà ni àwọn agbègbè tó nílò àmójútó àwọn agbègbè tó ojú ọ̀nà agbègbè tó nílò ojú ọ̀nà òun lẹ́ ń wò lójú ìwòran yìí o. tẹ́ ẹ bá rí ojú ọ̀nà yìí ọlọ́kọ̀ tó bá ilé rì sáàárín yìí tọ́ wọ́n ṣàwọn ọkàn gbàdúrà pé kóun ó kú òun bẹ́ẹ̀ láyọ̀ ni àtọlọ́kọ̀ o àtọlọ́kadà o àwọn èèyàn yìí ni wọ́n ń fojú winá wọ́n ń fojú rí pọ̀npọ̀nà yẹn ní ojú ọ̀nà náà wọ́n sì ní ìyà àjẹkúdórógbó làwọn ń jẹ. àwọn ojú ọ̀nà yìí díẹ̀ délé ń bẹ o ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo àwọn tí ojú ọ̀nà yìí kàn tó gbèrú ó ní àwọn agbègbè bíi Olúdé Ilẹ̀ Ìdáǹdè Ọba Road gbogbo àwọn agbègbè yìí ìjọba àbílẹ̀ Ọlọ́run dá ló wà ìyẹn ní ìlú Òṣogbo. wọn láwọn ń fẹ́ ìdáhùn àti ìdásí láti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Adéjàre Tajudeen àwọn ni wọ́n mọ̀ àjáde tí wọ́n ń pe àkíyèsí àwọn ilẹ̀ kí wọ́n yí oyè wọn ó jẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ láti agbègbè Olúdé Ilẹ̀ Ìdáǹdè àti Ọba Road gbogbo agbègbè yìí ló jẹ́ gbajúgbajà ní bí ìṣáná ẹlẹ́ta ní ìlú Òṣogbo. ó dáa eléyìí tá a fi hàn yín kẹ́yìn ní orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí òun náà ní iléèwé tó ń fi àmójútó lemọ́lemọ́ ni wọ́n ti láti ń ṣe àfihàn iléèwé yìí lemọ́lemọ́ láti ń gba ìpè lọ́tí ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn gbogbo àwọn ọmọ bíbí ìlú Ìkìrun wọ́n ń rawọ́ ẹ̀bẹ̀ sí ìjọba gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ olùgbé Ìkìrun àwọn tó ti gba iléèwé ìkọjá lọ́nà kan àbọ̀nà míì wọ́n ní kíjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun dákun mọ́ wo iléèwé yìí níran torí ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ owó ni wọ́n fi kọ́ iléèwé yìí ńgbà náà nǹkan àmúyangàn ló dẹ̀ jẹ́ nígbà tí wọ́n kọ́ ní ọdún náà lọ́hùn lọ́wọ́ ìjọba gómìnà tẹ́lẹ̀ rí Rauf Arẹ́gbẹ́ṣọlá ẹ wo gbogbo òrùlé iléèwé yìí o ẹ wo gbogbo àwọn àyíká gbogbo àwọn fèrèsé àti àwọn nǹkan míì gbogbo ògiri gan kọ́ ó ní kàn máa wí lọ ni nípa tòun kọ́lọ́hún máa ṣàánú fún wa ẹni tó fi àwòrán ìṣọwọ́ sí wa ni wọ́n sọ lórúkọ gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tó ti gba iléèwé ìkọjá àwọn ìkàn ọ̀gbẹ́ni Adébáyọ̀ Ọláwálé àwọn ni wọ́n mọ̀ fi eléyìí ṣọwọ́ sí wa o lórúkọ gbogbo ọmọ bíbí ìlú Ìkìrun níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Ìfẹ́lódùn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ó ní àwòrán tó gbẹ̀yìn tí wọ́n fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa ní orí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí ẹ ṣeun ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tẹ́ ẹ bá wa wò lọ́jọ́ tòní ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń tan móhùnmáwòrán yẹn ṣe gan ni àwa tá a wá jọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí ètò ẹ ṣe gan ni o àdúpẹ́ gidigidi o àjọṣepọ̀ wa kò ní í bàjẹ́ ẹ̀yin láàmọ̀ bá àwa náà láti mọ̀ wá ẹ ṣeun ẹ má wàá gbàgbé tẹ́yin náà wá fẹ́ fi àwòrán nǹkan tó ń jẹ yín níyà ohun tẹ́ ẹ nílò ohun tó ń fi yín làkàlàkà tó ń fi yín lápè ní àdúgbò yín ẹ̀yẹn ṣáà mú fóònù yín ẹ̀rọ ayàwòrán ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ tó lè yàwòrán dáadáa ẹ mú ẹ dàbù rẹ̀ ẹ má ṣe gbé lónígbọ̀rọ̀ o ẹ dàbù rẹ̀ báyìí bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti dàbù rẹ̀ báyìí ẹ yà àwòrán ohun tó ń jẹ yín níyà ẹ má wá jẹ́ kí àwòrán ojú bí ìṣẹ́jú méjì àbí mẹ́ta lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti ya àwòrán náà ẹ fi ṣọwọ́ sí wa kó tó di ọjọ́ ajé ojú òpó tẹ́ fi ṣọwọ́ sí ni 0803 865 1049 lẹ́ǹkan sí 0803 865 1049 àwọn ojú òpó lẹ tí ń wò ní ojú móhùnmáwòrán yín ẹ máa fi ṣọwọ́ síbẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kó mọ́lẹ̀ kétékété ẹ má wá gbàgbé ẹ fi orúkọ yín náà àti ibi tẹ́ ti ń fi àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ yẹn ṣọwọ́ papọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwòrán tẹ́ fi ṣọwọ́ yálà àwòrán fídíò ìyẹn fọ́nrán fídíò àbí àwòrán fọ́tò èyíkéyìí tẹ́ bá fi ṣọwọ́ a máa gbé jáde a máa ṣàfihàn rẹ̀ fún àwọn aláṣẹ ìjọba àti àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ bá kàn ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ bá wa darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí lọ́jọ́ tòní ìkànnì Western Spring Television ìkànnì àádọ́wà tó wà lórí Star Times DTT ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ló ti dé sí ojú ìwòran yìí àjọṣepọ̀ wa kò ní bàjẹ́ mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo àwọn tó ti kọ́wọ́ tì mí bí gbẹ́kẹ́ ti ń kọ́wọ́ ti lé tí gba aláàmú kọ́wọ́ ti ògiri gbígbẹ lórí ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ ẹ̀yin ayàwòrán mo mọ rírì àwọn tó jẹ́ amójú ẹ̀rọ ẹ ṣé ẹ̀kọ́ àdúrótì gbogbo àwọn ikọ̀ ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí àjọṣepọ̀ wa kò ní bàjẹ́ orúkọ tèmi ò tí ì yí padà Adéyẹmí Ọlábọ̀dé lórúkọ tèmi ń jẹ́ tí mò ń kí wa pé títí di ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ tá a máa pàdé lórí àkọ́tún ètò Ojú Ẹlẹ́rìí ẹ rántí pé ká mú olówó lọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ní ìlú ọ̀rẹ́ kó pé kó tani lọ́rẹ́ o ọwọ́ ẹni ni kì í tan ní jẹ ó di lọ́sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ ó dàbọ̀.